Hey, what's up guys, it's Zoko with another New World video. After doing a couple build videos focused around the Great Axe, I decided to switch things up a bit with this one. As always, we will start out with the skills and move on to the attributes and gear goals afterwards. What I came up with today is a mage focus build. This thing has been tested by a few friends and all can attest to its effectiveness. Now I will say it has a higher skill ceiling than my previous two builds. This can be a frustrating one to learn, mainly when it comes to PvP, but when you learn to play it right, it will feel very rewarding. Maybe you find some minor tweaks here and there that work better for you, in which case I say go for it and switch it up. But for the most part, this should be pretty effective for both PvE and PvP situations. There is one minor adjustment I would suggest when you're trying to focus on PvE, but we will address that later. Before jumping into the skills for the IcyHot Mage, a quick word from today's sponsor.
Introducing the revolutionary new IcyHot patch. It concentrates.
Come on guys, what are you out of your mind? IcyHot isn't going to sponsor someone like me. I'm way too small time. Speaking of which, if you don't mind clicking the like button and subscribing down below if you want the latest New World guides and builds that I put out. I also do some streaming on Twitch. Alright, let's do this. Starting off with the Ice Gauntlet and the Ice Tempest Tree. We are picking up Cold Reach, which increases damage of light and heavy attacks by 15% for targets further than 15 meters. Critical Rejuvenation recovers 15 mana after triggering a critical hit on a target. Energized Critical increases critical damage of ice spells by 15% when at full stamina. Ice Storm, probably my favorite skill of the Ice Gauntlet. This is a major AoE and CC ability for you. We will be taking this skill line to the end. Gathering Storm, when you hit 3 consecutive light attacks, you're going to get 15 mana back. I'm 99% sure this means only light attacks with the Ice Gauntlet. These types of passives don't really cross over, just FYI. The next one in the Ice Storm line is Weakening Gust. Incoming damage is increased by 10% for 3 seconds to enemies in Ice Storm if below 50% health. Critical Frost increases critical chance of hitting an enemy in a frosted area. That means your Ice Storm, by the way, or with Frostbite by 20%. Again, pretty sure you can't switch to your Fire Staff to get that critical chance effect. Storm Summoner is a big one. Ice Storm's mana cost is decreased by 80% at full mana. That is huge if you're headed into a big fight. The final add-on for Ice Storm is Punishing Storm, which is going to increase damage by 10% for each enemy inside. Heavy Freeze will freeze a target if hit by a heavy attack in Ice Storm or with Frostbite for 1 second. And then finally, Ultimate Chill, which makes your ice abilities chill targets so they get increased ice damage by 35% for 3 seconds. Going over to the Builder tree, we are going to pick up Quick Frost. Don't want to CC ourselves in our own Ice Storm if we can help it. On the left side, grab the second active skill, Ice Shower. This creates a shower of ice that creates a frosted area 1 meter by 5 meters. Basically a line in the ice. Enemies that enter the ice shower will be stricken with frostbite, which will root them for 1 second. It's going to block sprinting and dodging, slow speed by 50%, and is going to remain on target for 3 seconds after them exiting the ice shower. Ice shower lasts for 4 seconds, much less time than it took to read all that. Next, I would grab Entombed. Personally, I would like to get all active skills if there isn't something I am super set on getting specifically. Entombed is our mana regenerative skill, but also has a defensive mechanism to it as well. It lasts for 10 seconds, but can be destroyed by other players, but also by you. You can choose to right click and just exit, or left click and burst out, causing a knockback at the cost of 20 mana. Enduring Shower increases the ice shower duration to 7 seconds. Strengthening Tomb increases the defense by 25% for 3 seconds after leaving the skill. This is very important when exiting into waiting enemies. Quick Shower will give any ally, including yourself, a 25% speed boost when you enter the ice shower, like a slip and slide basically. Cleansing Tomb will make it so you remove all debuffs when using the skill. And Frigid Showers will apply Rend to the target, reducing the defense by 10%. Heading over to the Fire Staff and starting on the Fire Mage tree, we are first going to pick up Pillar of Fire, which to be fair is a bit broken right now. But even if it wasn't, we would probably still grab the skill. Just be aware there very well may be a nerf coming in its way at some point. Pillar of Fire deals 134% weapon damage. Spell Focus makes your heavy attacks restore 5% mana on hit. And Fiery Restoration makes heavy attacks reduce Fire Staff cooldowns by 10% on hit. This is a big one. First Strike causes Pillar to deal 40% more damage to targets at full HP. If at all possible, you generally want to use this as an opener, but nobody is going to see you coming and stay still for this to take effect, so be aware of that. Have a backup plan. Some of these names are killing me. Arson's Advantage, you gain 10% of your max mana per enemy hit by Pillar of Fire. It's good to use against a Zerg after you nab this add-on. Singe is probably one of my favorites. When you get a critical hit with the Fire Staff, you cause burning, dealing 3% weapon damage each second for 6 seconds. I find any sort of damage over time effect very effective because once it's applied and you go about your normal rotation, you can almost always catch people off guard by how it all adds up. They're usually just not ready for it, especially with this next one. Fireball. This can be a tough one to use. You lob a fireball at an enemy for 140% weapon damage, leaving a 3-meter burning field that lasts 6 seconds. The burning field deals 10% weapon damage each second. So again, you lob it. You might have to aim up and arc it to get a certain distance to where you're kind of going. You don't just aim directly at it and click and it just shoots straight ahead, right? It's much more difficult than that. Even being in that for 1 second though can put someone in the defensive as they try and reset. Another great skill to use in any case. It's harder for it to be effective in small scale PvP, but I have done it before, and my suggestion is not to let them know you have it until they are fairly close and it's pretty much a guaranteed hit, which is risky because we're a mage, but that's kind of what the Ice Gauntlet is for. With Spell Singer, your abilities gain an extra 15% chance to crit. Scorched Earth extends the burning field for 9 seconds of Fireball. Prophet of a Fire God increases crit strike damage by 20% when holding the Fire Staff. With Flare, your heavy attacks no longer consume mana, which is major because remember from before, restored 5% max mana on hit and reduced cooldowns. Basically, with all this, just use heavy attacks. The final add-on of Fireball is going to be Catch, which makes any Fireball direct hits restore 10% of your max mana and reduces your Fire Staff cooldowns by 7%. Not sure if it's only once per Fireball or if it's per hit. Like if your Fireball hits 3 people, does it proc 3 times? I don't know. It's probably the first one though, only once per Fireball. Finally, the Rune of Helios causes a 2-meter rune to be placed on the ground after any fire spell. This increases spell damage by 30% while standing in the rune. The rune lasts for 7 seconds. Moving over to the Pyromancer Tree, Pyromania, while holding Fire Staff and below 50% HP, damage is increased by 20%. With Let It Burn, whenever burn deals damage, gain 10% Fortify for 2 seconds. Fortify reduces damage we take. Kindle is going to make any burning last 20% longer. And finally, our last active, Burnout. This is our gap closer, or gap creator is more likely is how we're going to be using it usually. This is a dash that dishes out 129% weapon damage. If you pass through a target, you catch it on fire, and that will deal 10% weapon damage each second for 8 seconds. I feel like if you use this, given how many other tools you have, things have gone a bit sideways, or you are facing quite a few people. This is a good one to use against multiple targets because chances are someone might not be paying that close of attention. Next is All In, which reduces Fire Staff cooldowns by 5% for each enemy hit by Burnout, and Heated Up allows Burnout to go 50% further. All right, now this is the suggestion I will make if you're solely focused on PvE. Probably switch out Burnout for Incinerate. Trade those previous 3 skills mentioned for Incinerate and its follow-on 2, right? These are just better to be used in any PvE situation. There's massive AoE damage from this line. Me personally, if I planned on farming, like in an open dungeon or an expedition, I would make sure to have Incinerate, but anytime I was roaming while flagged up for PvP, for that extra XP boost, or participating in a war, I would use Burnout. And yes, I paid the respec cost because I personally don't think it's that bad. Just don't do it every other hour. If you wanted to sub out another passive from, you know, anywhere else in the tree to get the last Incinerate add-on down here, I say go for it. I'm not sure what I would pick, to be honest. I can make a case for pretty much all the passives that I have on this tree to keep them. This decision would probably come down to the type of content I was facing and what I felt like I needed for it. Now for the attributes. This is a heavy intelligence build, big brain. I think maybe a third should go towards constitution, personally, maybe a bit less. I think all of my builds are going to have some level of constitution to them. It's pretty important to help you not get bodied when walking down the road. So again, 2/3 towards intelligence, 1/3 towards constitution. You really want to get the first perk from the constitution line at a minimum. This gives a boost to health consumables, and being we don't really have any healing perks at all with us, I tend to think that is pretty important. As for gear, we are wanting the lightweight bracket. Intel focused as much as possible. Any medium pieces you can snake in to keep you in that light bracket, do it. We want the mobility, but be aware because of this, no matter the constitution we have, we are squishy. Full on glass cannon. For the weapon gems, I would suggest something that converts a portion of the damage to something else, like void or nature or something. Having multiple elements from your damage is harder for your enemy to build any effective resistances against. I'm a bit torn on gems for armor. I'd go back and forth with this. I may try some physical ones to help me when inevitably someone gets in close. Because of the ice gauntlet, we can actually deal with that a bit, force them to fight on our turf. But another part of me thinks that because we are so squishy, it won't matter anyways. So honestly, I don't know. I'm open to suggestions in the comments below. Perks to look out for on your weapons would be anything to assist in your active skills, and probably a major one, lifesteal. Being that we have nothing besides potions to help us when it comes to healing, having a lifesteal perk would be enormous. Now, when it comes to strategy and using this, it's not as simple as some others where when presented with X situation do this. Pretty much you are offensive with both weapons at any point. I would suggest using Fire Staff for range. Try to focus on heavy attacks again. If you can open with Pillar for that damage boost, do it. Any burning effects on your target is going to be a big help and may end up helping killing them before they really even able to get close. We do very, very big damage with that. Now, even though we do massive damage, you are going to have to be pretty squirrely when it comes to the dodging. Someone is going to get close to you eventually, and this is where you are in the most danger, but also where you can do the most too. Honey Badger in a corner type of thing. As someone closes the gap, you should be dropping Ice Storm. Do not wait for them to hit you to make this decision. You should anticipate it and have it ready. I would probably follow it up with Ice Shower and light them up with heavy attacks to try to get a freeze in on them. If they are creeping out at this point, switch to your Fire Staff and use Burnout to plow through the storm to the other side and apply a burn. The technical term for this would be a dick move. Both weapons hit very, very hard. I personally like the Ice Gauntlet better. It feels better, feels more natural, but I always stick with Fire for range because of its abilities to apply damage over time effects. I warn you again, this is a very hard style to play, but anyone that can play this well, nobody is going to brush you off as some scrub that is using a cheap setup, and your victim will know it too, despite whatever they might say. Please drop a like on this video if you haven't done so already, and swing by my Twitch channel and drop a follow if you don't mind. I have a couple more builds in the works in the coming days, and I hope you guys keep an eye out. See you in Eternum.